What's up everyone, welcome back to Switchcraft, and it's a great day to be a gamer. As we wind down 2018, I wanted to take a second and do what any self-respecting YouTuber is doing this time of year and put together a fails video. Today, let's look at the worst gaming fails of 2018. First up, we're going to talk about the most recent gaming fail of 2018, and that has gotta be the rushed, overhyped cash grab known as the PlayStation 1 Classic. It began so promisingly. A trailer dropped seemingly out of the blue. Sony was once again going to take a page out of Nintendo's handbook, this time by releasing their own version of a classic console with a bunch of preloaded games. In that trailer, we also found out that this baby was going to come preloaded with 20 classic games, 5 of which were found out about right away and were highlighted by Final Fantasy VII, Ridge Racer 4, and even a Tekken. Then, silence. For months seemingly, we got nothing except a bunch of YouTubers making wish lists of games they wanted to make up the other 15. Now, a few days after its launch, and we've been exposed to the wheelbarrow full of crap this thing actually is. It's so obvious that Sony rushed to get this thing out to market, and cut a lot of corners to do so. This thing is plagued with having half of its games based on the PAL format, meaning they run at 50 Hz. When most TVs are 60 Hz, this creates a weird sluggish feel. And when you're playing titles that are especially depending on smooth performance like Tekken and Ridge Racer I mentioned before, even the games that are synced properly render much more poorly than they do on current free emulators online, and in some cases even worse than on the original hardware. That is unacceptable. This thing has become the whipping boy of the internet and the newest dust collector for your local Best Buy. The one silver lining is that this thing was designed so poorly that it's already been hacked, less than a week after release, leading to the possibility of gamers everywhere eventually being able to improve the performance, change the emulators, and even load up their own games. Here's hoping. But next, I want to talk about Battlefield 5, because it speaks to a couple of bigger issues than just being a fail on a singular level. I don't want to use my channel as a political outlet, because I hope that in spite of where you sit on the political spectrum, enjoying video games is something that we can all agree on. Over the last several years, however, the era of political correctness and social justice has been ratcheted up to 11. The political left and political right are so polarized that it's created a vacuum where predatory virtue signaling ideologues routinely try to take advantage of people who have bigger mouths than brains. Enter Electronic Arts. Not having learned its lesson from the Star Wars Battlefront microtransaction debacle the year before, they took their massively successful series Battlefield, and for its 5th installment, decided to pander to the social justice warriors on college campuses and have it take place during World War II, but put a kick-ass woman on the front of the box, as if it were they who were in the front lines, knee-deep in amputated body parts, being shot at from all angles, and at risk of imminent bombing or artillery fire, instead of extremely rare medics, or back on the home front factory workers supporting the effort by sewing uniforms or making bullets and rations. Then, when the people who are concerned with the historical accuracy of the games, you know, the people who actually play them, thought it was laughable and began asking questions, EA told them not to buy the game. Smart business move, EA. Tell your customers not to buy your game. Well, luckily, they didn't. Neither did too many other people. The game did terrible pre-sale numbers, so bad in fact that the game director quit, and the game fizzled out of relevance before it was even released. But not to be outdone, and as a final kick to the nuts for the few fans who actually bought it, the game was deeply discounted only a week or so later. I can't wait to see what EA screws up next year. Get woke, go broke. But next we gotta talk about another game that turned out to be a massively rushed disappointment. This time, courtesy of Bethesda. Fallout 76 had everything going for it when it was announced, until we found out it was going to be online only. Yeah, people weren't too happy about that. But no single player? We've seen games like the newest Black Ops do the same thing and make it work and make it wildly successful. But it only got worse. And worse and worse. During the last days of the beta of the game, many knew that it was going to be released as a broken mess. Broken because of how much freedom the game gives you and how poorly thought out hacks and glitches that go along with it. And a mess because of the game design not having any non-playable characters or NPCs. This means you're left doing the same repetitive tasks over and over again, never running into anyone else playing this expansive game. you're oftentimes just wandering around in your own world. But even that's something that could be fixed in a few years after gigs and gigs of patches and expansions. What Bethesda is going to have a much harder time fixing is the relationship with its most hardcore fans. I'm talking about the ones who lined up at midnight releases, dressed up in Fallout cosplay, and were naive enough to purchase the special edition. This one takes the cake, because for those most loyal of fans who spent hundreds of dollars on the special edition, they were supposed to get, amongst a slew of goodies, a Fallout 76 branded canvas bag. The problem was that Bethesda sent out horribly cheap nylon bags instead, without telling anyone. Just assuming no one would notice? Oh, they noticed alright and complained like crazy. It took over the internet for a couple days and prompted Bethesda to do something about it. What did they do? They sent out a tweet that they didn't have enough canvas to fulfill the orders and they hoped players enjoyed their nylon bags instead. The nerve of these guys. Well, needless to say that this only ratcheted up the outrage, and we even saw rumors of a class action lawsuit. It's amazing how shortly after that Bethesda was magically able to find some more canvas and told fans to submit their information so they could be shipped the actual bag they paid for. But it wouldn't just be a fail in 2018 if Bethesda didn't have fans' personal info hacked or leaked online. Yep, I'm serious. If you submitted info for that bag, you're probably going to want to cancel your credit card. And before our last fail of 2018, I want to give an honorable mention to the Atari VCS. While I can't technically call this one a fail yet, because they still have about another 7 or 8 months to deliver on their promise, things are not gearing up for this to go well at all. This company has raised over $3 million via crowdfunding to bring back the Atari. Branded the Atari VCS, all signs are pointing to Atari being poised to make it onto my 2019 gaming fails list. Thanks in large part to some investigative journalism on the part of my friend and fellow YouTuber Smash JT, it's clear that this looks to be a shell company with a bare-bones staff, no working prototype, no clear plans for who, what, when, where, why, and how they're going to make this thing a reality, and horrible, standoffish, and passive-aggressive customer service for anyone looking to ask any questions. A link to some of his videos on this will be in the description below. I feel particularly bad as I was one of the dum-dums that backed this thing. And I gotta change the subject and finish this list before I think too long about how much money I flushed down the toilet with Atari. But luckily, to help me do just that, we have Philip Mewson and his plagiarism of Boomstick Gaming. Philip Mewson was an editor for IGN. I say was because back in August he was fired after it became clear that he reworded, or in some cases straight up copied, a lot of his work for the website, and later, as we would find out, even his own resume. It began with YouTuber Boomstick Gaming noting that Philip straight up jacked his review of Dead Cells. He sends out a tweet, I think, and cue the shitstorm. It blows up, makes Boomstick wildly popular, and puts Philip under an awkward AF microscope. It's clear he copied it, and he goes into hiding for a few days. Then a video surfaces where he gives a half-assed non-apology and stupidly challenged everyone online to go through the rest of his work to prove he's not a copier. Well, about that. Turns out that a lot of people did, and they found tons. Bayonetta 2, Super Mario Odyssey, Skyrim, Octopath Traveler, Shantae Half Genie Heroes, and like a bunch of others. It got to the point where other IGN editors took down everything he's done. What a tool! And for plagiarizing, then denying, and being dumb enough to ask the internet to check his work, Philip Mewson lands on my list of 2018 video game fails. 2018 was a year packed with awesome games all around and some truly amazing stories, but damn me if it wasn't also rife with rip-offs, scandals, and scams. Which one do you think was the biggest? Or was there one I missed? Let me know in the comments below and I'll get to work on 2019's list. EA and Atari already have a spot reserved for them. It's a great day to be a gamer. Switchcraft out.